That was pretty cool. I'm trying to get a handle on how my intros and everything are gonna go from here on out. So that was a little uh, experiment. So we're trying to get it all figured out. Another experiment is I called this the Cheech and Chong podcast last time. I don't know what I should call it. It's only my second video. We're trying to get, my head wrapped around everything over here. We're looking more into the Cheech playbook. I like that one. And my nickname is Cheech as a child. That's the whole reason why we got this name going on. But we're doing NFL week 4, the 1 p.m. games. We got it rolling. And last night was just unbelievable. I don't understand how Adam Gase still has a job. I don't get it. Around 40 million Americans are without a job as we speak, but yet Adam still has one in New York. The statistics are just mind-boggling. I told you guys that the Jets were going to win yesterday handily, 27-13. That Sam Darnold's going to have a little over 300 pass yards. That Sam Darnold's going to have 2 touchdowns. I mean, these numbers are they're disgusting to even look at. Look, when you look at Sam Darnold, 230 pass yards, 23 of 42 completion, just about a 50% completion percent. What is going on? They have nothing. Sam Darnold led the team in rushes and rush yard, 84 rush yards. Holy cow. And he got blown out. 37-28 at home. I just don't get it. This team, but you know what? That's a tank bowl. We don't. I didn't really have a feeling on it. I just said the Jets because I want the Vikings to get the number 1 overall pick. To be honest with you, and I know the Jets have a better chance of going 0-16 than the Broncos did. But my bias aside, I really did think the Jets were gonna win that game. But NFL Week 4, 1 p.m. games. There's a whole lot on the slate for 1 p.m. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games at 1 p.m. for this upcoming Sunday. We're going to get to the Colts at the Bears. The Colts are 2-point favorites in Chicago. Philip Rivers and the Colts. Philip Rivers has a 78% completion percentage through his first 3 games of the NFL season. He's the first quarterback in NFL history to complete at least a 75% completion percentage in his first 3 games with any team. Pretty impressive stat right there. The Colts also have a number 1 defense in the entire NFL. They allowed 45 points through the first 3 games. They're allowing 15 points per game. All these stats that correlate to Indy being good on defense. They have the number 1 overall ranked defense in the NFL as of right now. Now the Bears, on the other hand, they're 3-0. The Colts are 2-1. I think the Bears should be lucky to be 3-0. They beat the Detroit Lions on a last second. I mean, Detroit is the most unlucky team in the entire league. They should have won that game. And then they go and beat the Giants by 4 points. My God, the Giants can't move the ball. And the Giants defense is not that good. You put 17 up against them. They won 17-14. I had no feel on this game either, but if I had to lean one way, I'd probably go Indianapolis. Mitch Trubisky, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a 59% completion percentage so far during these 2.5 games because he got benched last week. 20th in points per game are the Bears. They are the first team in NFL history to win 2 games when trailing by 16 points or more in the fourth quarter. That's pretty impressive. And anytime that you have Nick Foles on your team, I just think that he brings something more, than any other quarterback in any team. I mean, when Carson Wentz got hurt on the Eagles, Foles just took charge and he did what he had to do to be, a number 1 quarterback throughout the entire playoffs. And in the Super Bowl, you beat Tom Brady. This guy's incredible. He just has a little chip on his shoulder, I feel like. Anywhere he goes, anywhere he goes, Foles. He just has a little chip on his shoulder, and he could be the best quarterback on the field at any point in time. The Bears whiffed on Mitchell Trubisky, and it's about time that they realize that. And I think they do realize that now, which is why they're benching him. I mean, look, when you pick him over Deshaun Watson, over Patrick Mahomes, you got to have some explaining to do if your team still is not in the right aspect to start you, right? In the right mindset to start you. If you still are having doubts about your quarterback, you whiffed, and I think the Bears are finally realizing that. Matt Nagy, no knock on him because Nagy is actually 23-12 as a Bears head coach since he, got into Chicago. Trubisky, his 63% completion percentage in his career is actually close to Rodgers, which is around 66%. His completion percentage is okay, but there's these little dunks and dives, check downs for Mitch. Look, all around, the Bears rank in the bottom 20th in points per game. The Colts defense is top 5 in all defensive categories. And Rivers versus Foles, that's what the matchup we're pretty much looking at. I think the Colts are going to win this one a little handily. I go somewhere in the ballpark of, I don't know, 26-10, 26-23, to 15-16, something along those lines. I don't think that the Bears could put up any points. Even if Foles does start, this Colts defense is one of the best in the league, if not the best. Statistically wise, they are the best in the league. So I'm going to take the Colts to win this one a little handily. Next game on the slate is the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Cincinnati Bengals. And this is an intriguing game because I'm going to go opposite of the public. And I know a lot of the public is probably going to think and say that the Bengals are going to win and Burrow's going to get his first win. They tied against the Eagles last week. All the hype coming in. They're getting a home game now. And that's where the money's going to come in, is on the Bengals. I can almost guarantee that one. Some statistics for the game. The Jacksonville Jaguars, the last 2 meetings are 2-0 against the Bengals, and they have 150 points to 30. That's what the Jaguars have had. Rush yards, 365 to 62. And in the first quarter of the season, the Jaguars are outscored 75-7. So if you're looking at the Jaguars early on in the games, they're not doing too well. And it's kind of the complete opposite for the Bengals. The Bengals are in a lot of these games. They lost by 5 points against Cleveland. They tied against Philly. They're in. They're in them. They're in them. And Burrow he's going to be a great quarterback for the years to come. But he's a rookie right now. It's only his 4th career start. He is home and he is against the Jaguars team. But this Jaguars team, they also beat the Colts, so be careful with them. They're a little feisty. We thought they're going to be the tankers of the league, and they were going to be pretty bad. Maybe they still can be that team, but they do show fight, and that's what, a lot of people don't really see in this Jaguars team. I see it at least. I think they'll give up a good fight against the Bengals. A couple stats on the Bengals, right? 3 of the last 4 seasons, Cincinnati has not won a game entering their week 4. They are 2-18-1 their last 21 games. Yikes. Joe Burrow, he has 141 attempts. It's the most by a quarterback in the first 3 NFL games in the past 60 years. So 69% of the plays are called passes by Joe Burrow. So the Bengals really love to utilize Burrow, as we could tell so far this year. The Jaguars have led after the first quarter 5 times since 2018. That's embarrassing. If you want to bet first quarter that the Jaguars are going to be down in the game, I mean, that probably cashed out for you a whole bunch of times aside from 5. Look, what I see here is sort of a flat spot for Cincinnati because even though they tied against Philly last week, I think that was a moral victory for the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow. So now that they're coming back home, I kind of see them slacking off a little bit. It's a little bit of a flat spot for them. Like I said, because they tied last week, it's considered a win almost. And the Jaguars are coming in with, Minshew, who he's a Jekyll and Hyde kind of quarterback. He has his great games, and you're like, what is he doing in this league? He doesn't belong in here. So what I think is the Jaguars are going to come in. They're going to take care of business. And we got 2 of the first games on the slate, both road teams winning and covering the spread. I have the Jaguars winning by a score of 24-20. Yeah, and the next game is very intriguing. So the next game on the slate is the Cleveland Browns versus the Cowboys. And the Cowboys are a 4.5-point favorite. Now, this line opened up Cowboys -7, which is telling you that there's some serious money on Cleveland. Now Cleveland hasn't started out 2-1, or yeah, hasn't started out 2-1 since 2011. It's the first time they've been over 500 through 3 games of the season for the first time since 2011. It's incredible how bad that this franchise has really been. And then you take it into account. Here's what I see with this matchup. And you guys could correct me if I'm wrong. You guys can, in the comment section is wide open to you guys. You guys can do whatever you want. Talk all the smack you want. I love it. What I see as far as Baker Mayfield and Dak Prescott is things need to be perfect for you to utilize these quarterbacks. It needs to be a perfect offense, a perfect offensive line. You have to have good receivers. If you don't have that, these quarterbacks cannot elevate you. They cannot get you to the destined land. You see, so that's what they have in common. They need everything around them to be perfectly flowed. If they don't have that, you see them for who they truly are. Kirk Cousins falls into this category as well. He does. If everything, that's why we're 0-3 and going to be 0-7. That's what these quarterbacks have in common. Everything needs to be perfect. And if it's not perfect around them, they slack off, they throw the picks, they're very indecisive. And that's why you kind of get these Jekyll and Hyde sort of quarterbacks, because Baker Mayfield does have games where he looks phenomenal, right? 70% completion percentages, 3 touchdowns, no picks. But then you have games where it's 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions because his offensive line maybe couldn't have held up. He's running the ball when he should be throwing it. Same thing with Dak Prescott. The Cowboys are a point away from being 0-3, and they're 4.5. And they opened up at 7, and now they're 4.5 point favorites. They're a point away from being an 0-3. They're a Dan Quinn offense, defense, head coach away from being 0-3. They won a game by a single point. I don't see any value in the Cowboys. I don't think this team is even good, to be completely honest, because in that division, sure, they're the best team in that division, I guess, right? Because the Eagles tied, they don't have a win yet. Other teams don't have a win. Washington does, I'm sorry, but roster wise, coaching wise, I guess the Cowboys are the best in that division, but they're not 4.5 to 7 points better than the Browns. The Cowboys lead the NFL in total offense, though, so you got to admire that. They have 490.7 yards per game. That's pretty impressive. Dak Prescott has a career high 472 pass yards last week. Pretty impressive as well. An L, but nonetheless pretty impressive. 922 yards in a 2 week span for Dak Prescott as the third most in a 2 game span. In the last 60 years, the only other two quarterbacks to do that was Phil Simms in 1985 and Tom Brady in 2011. Pretty impressive for Dak Prescott, but you're still 1-2. You should be 0-3. A perfect game in that all quarter. Right. I'm sorry. This team, the Dallas Cowboys, they need to have Dak Prescott to be perfect. And the only way he could be perfect is if his team is perfect around him. If receivers start dropping passes, if running backs, Ezekiel Elliott starts fumbling, if Zeke can't run the ball as much as he should, and you got to put the ball in Dak Prescott's hand, and you say, you know what, Dak, I know that we're not able to run the ball, and our receivers are passing it. Let's put the ball in your hand, and let's see what you could do for me and what you could do for the Dallas Cowboys. More often than not, he's going to fail because he needs his surroundings to be perfect. Same thing with Baker Mayfield. That's why I think this matchup is kind of intriguing, because I don't know what you're going to get out of these two teams. I really don't. Um, Here's another statistic for you regarding the Cleveland side. Ready for this one? Um, Dallas is one of the two teams the Cleveland Browns have not beat since the remerger in 1999. So they're 0-4 against the Dallas Cowboys. The Cleveland Browns are, and the only other team they haven't beat since '99 is the Philadelphia Eagles, both in the NFC East. And look, I want to call upset so bad and say the Browns are going to straight up win. I just can't trust Baker Mayfield. I can't trust him as far as I could throw him. I know he got the first win for the Browns a couple years ago. I just never joined the hype train. I just can't put imagine putting your money on Baker Mayfield. How far can you get with that? I think the Cowboys win, but the Browns do cover the spread. I'm going to go with the low scoring game here. And the reason why I'm going low scoring is because there's been so many points scored and so many yards being thrown and rushed throughout these first couple weeks of the NFL season. I feel like this week in the NFL, totals are just going to hit the under like crazy because everyone's scoring at a rapid rate. Everyone's going to come back down to earth at some point or another. I think this is the week for it. I got the Cowboys winning. Yes, I got the Cowboys winning 23-20. A good game, but I want to say the Browns win so badly. I just can't take that next step and say that they're that team and they're going to do it. Um, Look, and who knows? Maybe the Browns do win. If anything, I see the Cowboys winning and not covering, or the Browns straight up winning. I don't see the Browns, or I'm sorry, the Cowboys blowing the Browns out. That's not a game that I see happening at all. Next game, the Saints, the New Orleans Saints at the Detroit Lions. Could I just say before we get into this game that I mean, look, I picked the Saints to not even make the playoffs this year in my picks. And by the way, my Super Bowl pick is the Seattle Seahawks beating the Buffalo Bills. Yeah. Oh my God, Buffalo's going to beat the Ravens, and they're going to beat the Chiefs. Yeah, yeah, they're going to beat the Ravens, and they're going to beat the Chiefs. If it comes down to it, yes, because and on my sheet, I also said Josh Allen was going to win MVP. Oh, he's going to win MVP over Patrick Mahomes. Yes, yes, he is. You always have those pop guys that come out of nowhere. Last year, Lamar Jackson popped. He came out of nowhere. You're like, holy cow, I didn't know this guy could throw the way he does. Yeah, he's a good rusher, but wow, he's a really good quarterback. Yeah, that happens, and I feel like even last year, Allen had a very good year last year. He was just, overshadowed by all the other quarterbacks in the league. And I feel like Allen is the pop guy this year. And you're just going to see him and go, wow, he's a pretty good quarterback. And he is. He's a tank, too. He's like 230 pounds. The guy's an animal. Yeah, so here we go. A little off topic. Sorry about that. But Saints at the Lions. Yeah, I got the Saints missing the playoffs. Look, I think that the Saints are a shit. Drew Brees is not as good as everyone hypes him up to be. Look, if Kirk Cousins can beat you at your own stadium in the playoffs with fans, you should feel embarrassed. We suck, okay? And for you guys to lose to us, come on. You guys would have put up a better matchup against the Niners than us. So I don't know what was going on there. Uh, the Saints have allowed 30 points in back-to-back games for the first time since 2016. Breeze has an 80% completion percentage in his last in a loss to the Green Bay Packers. He still put up good numbers, but it didn't get him anywhere. The Saints are also eighth in points per game. And now I'm going to read off all the Lions stats, and it's abysmal. Ready? The Lions are 2-10 in the last 12 home games, including 5 straight losses. They're 12-12-1 all time against the Saints. So it's tied. The Lions are 25-14-1 when Stafford does not throw an interception. They're 10-25 when he does throw an interception. Both defenses are in the bottom 20 rush yards, and I'm sorry, they're both in the bottom 20 for defense and rush yards. So they don't rush the ball and they can't stop the football for anything, right? So what I see in this game is if the Saints are a 4-point favorite in Detroit, it's going to come up flat. I see it that way at least. I think the Lions are, as long as they don't turn the ball over, the Lions should be in good hands. Matt Stafford is a very good quarterback. He's not great by any sort of imagination, right? He's good when he needs to be. He could throw the ball. He's very, and in that division that he's in is one of the toughest in the league. With the Packers that you've had Rodgers for my God, 10 years or so, right? Stafford does his thing. He does what he has to do. I'm taking the Lions in an upset here, and I think this game is going to be a little bit of a higher scoring one. I'm going to go Lions 30, Saints 17. Yeah, I see a little bit of a blowout happening. I'm going to go Lions. I got them winning. Next game. Oh, boy, here's ready for this one, too. Next game on the list, we got the Seattle Seahawks at the Miami Dolphins. Seattle is a 6.5-point favorite in Miami. Russell Wilson, 14 touchdowns, one interception. He has a 78% completion percentage. I'm sorry. He ranks second in points per game, eighth in yards per game, fourth in pass yards per game, second in interceptions as far as their defense, how it is. My God, that's a complete team. The Seattle Seahawks are. The last time Seattle Seahawks started 3-0, they won the Super Bowl. Watch out. Might be a flat spot for them though. Look, Russell's the fifth player in the NFL history to throw 4+ touchdowns in 3 straight games. Look, the reason, and look, this is a flat spot for them in this sense. They just came off of two massive wins. Okay, one against the Cowboys last week that could have went into OT, and the week before that, you had a goal line stand win against New England and Cam Newton. Those are two really emotional grunt get him kind of games, and they won both of them. That's the only reason why I see this spot being a little bit flat for them. If Seattle wins, I don't think that it's going to be by any more than 3 points, if that. Miami is 8-4 against Seattle all time, 6-1 against Seattle at home. All these games date back to 2001, were decided by 7 points or fewer. So Miami keeps it tough against Seattle. But here we go with this. I know that, these different years are different teams, etc. Miami's in the bottom 20 for points, yards, pass yards, and rush yards. Not a good combo. Last week, though, Ryan Fitzpatrick had a 90% completion percentage. Not bad. 18 out of 20. It was against the Jaguars, but he still put up pretty good numbers, huh? Look, see, Seattle's in a. I think it's a flat spot. I think they win. I just don't think that they cover 6.5 points. That's a lot to be given on the road too. I'm gonna go Seattle wins this one 27, Miami 23. Next game on the slate, uh, the Chargers at the Bucs. All right, here we go. I was looking at Vegas odds and seeing that Vegas has the Chargers as their most needed win. I think it's something like 90% of the bets are on Tampa Bay, which usually means the other team covers/wins. But here come the statistics that make me think otherwise. Ready? The Bucs are seventh in total defense, sixth in yards per game, outscoring opponents 31-0 in the first quarter. Wow, not bad. And their team is coming together now. I think that this is the time for the Bucs season that they've finally gathered everyone and they understand the way the playbook works and they understand the way the coaching is and they're getting everything rolling. Everyone was figuring around week 4 or 5 when they were going to get everything together. If they started out 2-2, blah, blah, blah. They started out better than that, and I think they're going to, be a Super Bowl contender. Obviously, I think everyone's pretty positive on that. The Chargers are 8-3 versus the Bucs all time. Herbert is 0-2 in his career, but a promising game against the. I mean, look, when you are Justin Herbert and you put up those numbers that you did against the defending Super Bowl champs, you were a silly pick, a silly interception away from winning that game. You really were, because I understand it was his first ever game. He could have ran for a first down, but he threw across his body and he got it picked off. And yeah, they lost because of that. But you kept it very close against the Chiefs. You lost by 3 points in a game you could have won. That's a big confidence booster for Herbert. Yeah, they lost last week. They didn't cover the spread last week either, and that was a little bit of a flat spot for them. Again, moral victory for the Chargers 2 weeks ago, losing to the Chiefs by 3 and going into overtime and losing to them. Herbert's first start, you did phenomenal. That was a moral victory. The Chargers are fourth in total defense. They're 3-11 in one possession games, though, since the start of last season, most in NFL by far. And Herbert is the third player in NFL history, wow, with 300 plus pass yards in his first 2 games. The only other two probably will never guess him. Cam Newton and Kyler Murray. No other quarterback has done it for 4 straight games. So Herbert has a chance to do something pretty special. No one's ever done it in his first 3 games. I'm sorry. So Herbert has a chance to do something pretty special. And here's the most craziest stat that I found for this game. Ready? It's the first matchup uh, that has the largest discrepancy for age, 20 years and 219 days. It's the largest gap for starting quarterbacks, largest all time. That's pretty impressive. Look, the Bucs. We know who the Bucs are. We know who the Chargers are, or what they're going to shape up to be at least. And we know that the Bucs are going to be a playoff team. We know the Chargers. They're not going to do too much this year, especially with a rookie starting quarterback. I'm gonna go with the Bucs, and I'm gonna go with the Bucs pretty big, handily as well. I'm gonna go Bucs 27, Chargers 17. I just don't see I don't see the Chargers really scoring points on the Bucs. I mean, the Bucs defense is one of the best in the league. They're seven, top seven in all the statistical categories. I don't see them having a really hard time. I just don't see it happening. Oh boy, ready for this one, huh? How about the Baltimore Ravens at the Washington football team? Washington makes all these moves. They get all these draft picks and all this. They get a new head coach, but they can't change their name. I just don't get it. You do all this stuff, but you leave it at football team. What do I know? Right? I don't know. The Baltimore Ravens have won and covered their previous 8 road games. Lamar has 0 interceptions and nearly a 70% completion percentage. Lamar is the number one rusher on his team. He leads with the most yards. The Ravens are 9-1 in their last 10 games, outscoring opponents by 188 total points, the largest differential in a 10-game span of road teams since the 1984-1985 season, which was the San Francisco 49ers. And I don't know if they won the Super Bowl that year. Don't quote me on that. Lamar Jackson has 4,904 pass yards and 2,083 rush yards and 34 career games. Incredible. This guy's unbelievable. The Ravens have scored at least 1 point in its last 20, I'm sorry, in their last 95 halves of regular season football. The largest streak is 96, which was the Saints in 2015 to 2018. The Ravens also had 54 first half points this season. It's the third most in the NFL. They're fourth in yards per game, fifth in rush yards per game. My God, if you, come on, those statistics are ridiculous. It's like men versus boys. The Ravens are they're animals unless you play against the Chiefs. And then when the Ravens play against the Chiefs, all bets are off. They're just terrible. I don't know why does that happen every time with this team. Lamar has 4 losses in his career, and 3 of them in the regular season, and 3 of them in the regular season come to the Chiefs. Come on, it's like they're a whole new team when they play the Chiefs, and the other loss came to the Browns at home. That was incredible. Week 2 last week. 14-point favorites. Oh, it's a lot of points. And this is why they're 14-point favorites. Ready? The Washington football team trailed by double digits in their last 5 games at the half. Washington's front 7 is pretty good, though. I mean, they do a very good job at drafting defensive linemen in their front 7. 13 total sacks, second in the NFL. And here we go. Another reason why the Ravens are favored by so much. They have 54 points allowed in the first half, tied for 4th most in the NFL. And the Ravens score 54 points in the first half this season. And that's the 3rd most in the NFL. So it should be an interesting showdown for the first half of this game, at least. The Ravens are 14-point favorites. Look, based off all these stats, they're 9-1 in the last 10. They covered their last 8 road games, and 3 of the 8 were double digits, and they covered all 3 of those. I see the Ravens winning easily in this one. I'm going to go Baltimore 30, and they score a lot of points, man. I'm going Baltimore Ravens 30 and the Washington football team 17. Next game on the list, I didn't even bother writing it down because I want the Vikings to lose, but the Minnesota Vikings are 3.5-point underdogs against the Houston Texans. Both 0-3, both look abysmal. Look, The Texans should have won last week. The Vikings probably should have won last week, to be fair, but I hope we don't, and I hope we never win this whole year. But how do you, if you're Bill O'Brien, how do you still have a job? You're leading last week against Pittsburgh, and then you don't score a point the entire second half. The whole fourth quarter, you barely even touched the ball. I just don't understand what the play calling is with Bill. I don't get it. I don't understand. It's the first time that the Minnesota Vikings have started 0-3 under the Mike Zimmer career, huh? But look, Kirk Cousins is who he is. He already has as many interceptions this year as he did all of last year. Excuse me. We already know who Kirk Cousins is. He's not going to do anything spectacular. He's not going to do anything magnificent that we're like, oh man, I didn't know Kirk Cousins could do that. No, he is who he is. Deshaun Watson is a way better quarterback. I'm literally just taking the Texans based off of quarterback play. As far as head coach, I think we got the better head coach, but I think the Texans win this one. I'm going to go Houston 20, Minnesota 13. Yeah, 13 points. That's how much we're going to score, I bet. Because Kirk Cousins can't move the ball. We have no one. We have 8 new starting players on defense. We don't have any DTs. Pierce opted out for the season. We can't do anything. And I don't know how this is. Do you know before the season started, the Vikings were actually a favorite to win the division? I don't understand how. We got rid of Diggs. Pierce opted out for the season. We got rid of Rhodes. We got rid of Waynes. We got rid of Everson Griffin. How on earth are we a favorite to win the division? We got rid of our number one receiver. We got rid of all of our defense. Our corners are gone. 2 of our DTs are gone. Our other DT opted out for the season. How are we favorites? Anthony Barr's now hurt. I'm done. This team. Yeah. Anyways. And the last game on the NFL slate for 1 p.m. games, we got the Arizona Cardinals 3-point favorites at the Carolina Panthers. Kyler Murray actually had 3 interceptions his last game. He has 5 interceptions throughout these 3 games so far this year and 4 touchdowns. Oof. Since the start of last season, the Cardinals are 6-2-1 when scoring more than 25 points, 1-9 when scoring fewer than 25 points. They're 1-9-1 when allowing more than 25 points. Oh, they're 3 interceptions Sunday, right? That's what Kyler Murray had. And here's the craziest stat. Ready? He ran 5 times for 29 yards this past Sunday. The Cardinals are 0-8-1 when Murray has at least 5 rushes. And they are 7-3 when Murray has 6 or more rushes. So get Kyler Murray to run the ball 6 times and you're going to win. That's what that statistic's saying, at least, huh? Panthers have won 4 straight games against the Cardinals, 12-5 all time. McCaffrey is out, though. Both teams are 15-25 range, in the 15-25 range for yards per game. Right there in the mid-pack. Since 2014, Carolina is 24-1 when they commit 0 turnovers. Their lone loss was this week 1 against the Las Vegas Raiders. They had no turnovers and still lost that game. I like the Panthers in this spot a lot because everyone thought that the Panthers were in this rebuild mode for some reason. They have the best running back in the game, Teddy Bridgewater, who is a covering machine. Their defense is solid. Their all-line is okay. And they have decent receivers, and they got Rules as head coach. What's so bad about the Panthers that everyone is seeing, or everyone was seeing? I don't think that they're a bad team at all, or a rebuilding team at all. The Cardinals are a public team now that they're getting their stride ever since they won Week 1 against the Niners. They're coming into a public team, but what people don't realize is they play the Niners tough every year. Last year, they could have beat the Niners twice. The Niners beat the Cardinals by 1 possession both times last year. I like the Panthers winning this one, 27-23. Those are the NFL Week 4 1 p.m. games. We're going to have the 4 p.m. and 4:25 p.m. games coming up later to you tonight. That's it. See you guys tomorrow.